Good afternoon, friends. In this video, we'll just see one of the application, very important application of Biot-Savart's law. I think in the last video, we have seen the mathematical statement as well as the theoretical statement of Biot-Savart's law, as well as the difference between the Biot-Savart's law and Coulomb's law. In the last video, we have seen that. Now in this video, we will see one of the important application of Biot-Savart's law. How to apply Biot-Savart's law. Basically, Biot-Savart's law will be helpful for us in order to find, right? In order to find the magnetic field intensity due to a current carrying conductor. Here, so I am applying that Biot-Savart's law in order to find the magnetic field intensity of finite and infinite current carrying conductors. Finite means if the length of the current carrying conductor is a finite value, 10 meters, 20 meters like that, then we can call such a current carrying conductor as finite current carrying conductor. If the length of the current carrying conductor is very high, like 100 kilometers or 200 kilometers length, we can treat it as a infinite current carrying conductor. Practically, infinite current carrying conductor do not exist, but ideally we can consider it as a infinite because the length of the current carrying conductor is very much higher when compared to the distance between the conductors or the distance from the conductor to the point of interest. If this distance is very much lesser when compared to the length of the conductor, then we can treat such a current carrying conductor as infinite current carrying conductor, right? So in this video we'll see that. First we will find or we will derive the magnetic field intensity due to a finite current carrying conductor. Then we can apply the same relation to an infinite current carrying conductor, right? So many authors on this particular topic many authors will follow different techniques or different methods. So as far as my experience is considered, I feel it as a easy method of finding the field intensity. That's why I am expressing this in this video. So now consider here I am considering a current carrying conductor which is a finite one. This is the total length of the current carrying conductor, right? So I am considering a finite current carrying conductor carrying a current in positive z direction. This is the positive z direction, right? So I am considering a finite current carrying conductor placed in a z axis carrying the current in positive z direction, and I am interested to find the magnetic field intensity at this point. What is this point? This point is called as, in our language, we call this as point of interest, POI. Okay, so in the previous videos also, I mentioned this about this point of interest many times. It is the point where I want to find the magnetic field or where I want to find the electric field. This is called as point of interest. So due to this finite current carrying conductor carrying a current of I want to find the magnetic field intensity at this point P, and this point of interest is considered to be at a distance of rho. This is the perpendicular length from the conductor to the point of interest. This is the length from the conducting location to the point of interest. Now, as a finite conductor has two ends, this is the starting end and this is the finishing end. Means the current starts from here and ends here because it is a conductor. Now the starting end is assumed to be subtending or making an angle of alpha 1 with its axis from this point to the point of interest. Means from the starting end to the point of interest, if you draw a line and that line is making an angle of alpha 1 with the conductor orientation. Similarly, what is alpha 2? If I join a line from the finishing end to the point of interest, This line is making an angle of alpha 2 with the conductor orientation. So alpha 1 and alpha 2 are the angles made by the starting end and the finishing end with the conductor orientation. So when we are doing problems, when we are deriving the magnetic field intensity of some more conductors, some other configurations, here we need to use the same notation. That is the very important thing is here. The important thing here is we need to use the same notation when we are finding the magnetic field intensity due to some other current carrying configurations, some other conductors. Otherwise you will lead to a wrong result. Okay, now, and I am considering anywhere in between the starting end, this is the starting end and this is the finishing end. Anywhere in between starting end and finishing end, I am considering a small element, and this element means when I draw a line joining this element to the point of interest, it is making an angle alpha with the conductor orientation. Now this element is at a height of z from the origin. This is the origin. This is the origin I am considering. So the differential element, why I considered a differential element? Because I can apply Biot-Savart's law if I know the differential current element, and I can find the magnetic field intensity due to this differential current element using Biot-Savart's law. That is the reason why I considered a small current element. Right? Now, what is Biot-Savart's law? According to Biot-Savart's law, we know that dH bar, which is nothing but the differential magnetic field intensity, is given by I dl bar cross r bar divided by 4 pi r cube. Is it right? So this has the unit of ampere per meter. This is according to Biot-Savart's law. So Biot-Savart's law basically gives us the magnetic field intensity due to a differential current element. Not only magnetic field intensity, magnetic flux density also. If you place here mu naught, which is a permeability of free space, it will become flux density. That is the only difference. Okay, so this expression is obtained from Biot-Savart's law. This expression is obtained from Biot-Savart's law. Now, how can I get this? What is dl bar? Dl bar is the current direction. Based upon the current direction, we will get dl bar. Now, if you observe, this is the small length in the entire conductor. So dl bar is nothing but dz, as the current is in positive z direction. So I can consider dl bar as dz az bar. Right? Now, for easy analysis, I am considering a cylindrical coordinate system here. With the help of cylindrical coordinate system, I want to analyze this problem. Cylindrical coordinate system. Right? So what is the cylindrical coordinate system? It contains the coordinates of rho, phi and z. This is the cylindrical coordinate system. Now I am taking the help of cylindrical coordinate system in order to analyze this problem in a simple way. Now I got dl bar as dz az bar. Now how can I express r bar? So always remember, very important thing is that r bar is nothing but the distance vector from the conducting portion to the point of interest. This is r bar. So where is the conducting portion? So this is the conducting portion. So this is r. Right? So this is the conducting portion and this is the point of interest. So this is r bar. So it is always directed from conducting portion to the point of interest. So the direction is in this way, not in this way. So this is the thing which you need to consider, which is a very important thing. So now how can I get this r bar vector from these two known vectors? See, let me draw a triangle again in order to understand this. So here you have a differential element. Is it right? This is the differential element here. From the differential element to the point of interest. This is the point of interest here. Right? Now this vector is directed from the differential element to the point of interest. So this is r bar. And what is this vector? This vector is having the magnitude of z and the direction is az bar. Now what is this vector? This vector is having the magnitude of rho and having the direction of a rho bar. Now how can I get this vector? The summation of these two vectors will give you this vector. But in order to add these two vectors, we need to reverse any one vector. Now I am reversing this vector. So I am reversing this vector. If this is z az bar, now what is this vector? It is minus z az bar. So now this vector plus this vector will gives you this vector according to vector addition. Hence I can write r bar as, how can I write r bar? I can write r bar as rho a rho bar minus z az bar. Rho a rho bar minus z az bar. Now we got dl bar, we got r bar. Just find dh bar. So dh bar is equal to I times 4 pi r cube. R cube means magnitude of r whole cube. How can I get r cube? So it is, first find magnitude of r bar, which is equal to r. What is the magnitude of r bar, which is r? It is root of rho square plus z square. And what is r cube? It is rho square plus z square whole power 1 by 2. If I make cube, you will get rho square plus z square whole power 3 by 2. So in place of r cube, what I can substitute? Rho square plus z square whole power 3 by 2. Is it right? And dl bar cross r bar. Now what is dl bar? dl bar is the dz az bar, right? So dz az bar cross r bar. R bar is rho a rho bar minus z az bar. So according to cross product relation, what is az bar cross a rho bar? See, a rho, a phi, az. A rho bar cross a phi bar is az bar. A phi bar cross az bar is a rho bar, and az bar cross a rho bar is a phi bar. So az bar cross a rho bar is a phi bar, means here you will get rho dz scalar multiplication, rho dz, az bar cross a rho bar is a phi bar. And we have one more unit vector, az bar cross az bar. What is az bar cross az bar? 0. The cross product between the same unit vectors or parallel unit vectors is always 0. So az bar cross az bar is 0, so we don't bother about this. Now in the numerator, you have outside the brackets I by 4 pi rho square plus z square whole power 3 by 2. Inside this you have rho dz a phi bar. So this is having the units of ampere per meter. So this is dh bar, right? Now let me create some portion in order to do this derivation. So for here I am going to find the magnetic field intensity due to finite and infinite current carrying conductors, right? Now okay, now what is dh bar? Let me write it again. So dh bar is equal to I by 4 pi into rho square plus z square whole power 3 by 2 into rho dz a phi bar, right? Now from this triangle, from the same triangle, okay, let me erase the vectors here from the same triangle. So let me erase the unit vectors here. or we can consider here from this triangle itself directly. So from this triangle O, consider this as A, point A, and this as P, right? From triangle OAP, what I can write? Tan alpha. So I can write tan alpha as rho by z, which is opposite side is rho, adjacent side is z. So from the triangle, OAP, tan alpha is equal to opposite side by adjacent side, rho by z. Is it right? Or how can I write z? Because I need dz here, I want to know z, right? So z can be written as rho by tan alpha. Okay, 1 by tan alpha can be written as cot alpha. So z is equal to rho cot alpha. Now what is dz? dz is equal to, or dz by d alpha. I am differentiating with respect to alpha on both sides. So I will get dz by d alpha. So I can send d alpha to right hand side. So you will get rho into, what is the differentiation of cot alpha? Minus cosecant square alpha. Is it right? So dz is equal to minus rho square cosecant square alpha d alpha. dz is this one, right? And now substitute all the things in order to do the differentiation. Substitute all the things. How can I get this now? I'm just substituting all the values in dh bar, right? Okay. I by 4 pi into, in rho square, in place of z square I am writing again rho square cot square alpha, because z is equal to rho cot alpha, z square is nothing but rho square cot square alpha whole power 3 by 2, and you have rho and dz. In place of dz I am substituting minus rho square cosecant square alpha d alpha. Is it right? Now from this inside, means in the denominator you have rho square as common in both the terms. If you take rho square out of the brackets, you will get rho square whole power 3 by 2, rho square whole power 3 by 2. So 2 gets cancelled, you will have rho cube out from the brackets. So you have minus I rho cube cosecant square alpha d alpha divided with 4 pi into, I am taking rho cube outside, 1 plus cot square alpha whole power 3 by 2. 1 plus cot square alpha whole power 3 by 2. Right? Now you will get rho cube cancel. And how can I write 1 plus cot square alpha? 1 plus cot square alpha is cosecant square alpha according to trigonometry, trigonometrical identities. So minus I, in the numerator you can have cosecant square alpha d alpha divided with 4 pi into 1 plus cot square alpha is cosecant square alpha whole power 3 by 2 is cosecant cube alpha. So in the denominator you will get cosecant cube alpha, right? So this is dh bar. Now cosecant square alpha and cosecant square alpha gets cancelled. You have 1 cosecant alpha in the denominator. So 1 by cosecant alpha, I think so it is sin alpha according to trigonometry. So I can write minus I by 4 pi, 1 by cosecant alpha is sin alpha d alpha. Now when you take the differentiation, not the differentiation, we have to take the integration. Okay, so this is z axis, right? And the finishing end is making an angle of alpha 2 and the starting end is making an angle of alpha 1. So don't forget this. Now we will do the integration. So h bar is equal to, as the integration is in terms of alpha, we need to take the limits of alpha. What are the limits of alpha? Alpha 1 and alpha 2 are the limits of alpha. So it is minus I by 4 pi integration from alpha 1 to alpha 2 sine alpha d alpha. What is the integration of sine alpha? Sine alpha integration is minus cos alpha. So a lot of mathematics is required in order to do this, but it is a very simple technique when compared to all techniques. So minus I by 4 pi, as the integration of sine alpha is minus cos alpha, minus minus will get cancelled, so we will get plus cos alpha within the limits of alpha 1 to alpha 2. The unit is ampere per meter or ampere turn per meter. Now h bar is equal to, okay, somewhere here we forgot rho, I think so. Okay, we made a small mistake here. So we get rho cube, but here we have rho square, I think so. So rho cosecant square alpha, sorry, rho cosecant square alpha. So we'll get rho square, rho cube. So in the denominator we'll get rho. Okay, I made a mistake here. So here you have only rho square, a small mistake, very sorry. So you will have rho here, and everywhere you will have rho. Right? Now I by 4 pi rho cos alpha 2 minus cos alpha 1. Okay, ampere per meter. So this is the expression of the magnetic field intensity due to a finite and straight current carrying conductor when alpha 1 and alpha 2 are the angles made by this finite. So now I want to extend this expression to infinite current carrying conductor. Let us understand about the infinite conductor. See, when this conductor length increases, so it moves towards plus infinite and it moves towards minus infinite. Now let me write here for simple understanding. Let me write here, starting end, okay, is at minus infinite now, and finishing end is at plus infinite, because when I want to consider it as an infinite current carrying conductor, it must extend from minus infinite to plus infinite, right? So the starting end will be at minus infinite distance and finishing end is at plus infinite distance. Now if you observe, when I extend this starting end to plus infinite, so this line will be like this. Is it right? So now this is not the line. This is not the line from infinite to this point of interest. This is the line, right? Now what is the angle? The angle between these two lines, see, this is in positive z axis and this is in positive z axis. These two lines are in parallel. So now what is alpha 2? Alpha 2 becomes 0 degrees. Why I made alpha 2 as 0 degrees? See, when I extend the length of this current carrying conductor up to plus infinite, this line which is at the finishing end will move in this direction, right? Now these two lines seeming to be parallel, hence alpha 2 becomes 0 degrees. Come to the starting end. If I extend this line towards minus infinite, this line will be in this direction, right? But the current is in this direction. Now how these two? These two are in anti-parallel. Here this is the current direction and this is the line direction. But here this is the current direction, because the current direction will not change. This line direction will change, right? So in between these two the angle is 0 degrees. In between these two the angle is 180 degrees, if you understand. Now alpha 1 becomes 180 degrees. Okay, when I want to extend the expression for magnetic field intensity from finite conductor to infinite. Okay, this is for finite current carrying conductor. Finite current carrying conductor, here the starting end is making an angle of alpha 1 and the finishing end is making an angle of alpha 2. In that case, this is the expression. Now in order to extend this expression to infinite, I need to move from negative infinite to positive infinite. So the starting end is at negative infinite, finishing end is at positive infinite. So alpha 2 becomes 0 degrees, because as the conductor length increases like this, the line joining the finishing end and the point of interest will also extend like this, so the angle becomes 0 degrees. Here, as the current direction is like this but the line joining is like this, so the angle becomes 180 degrees. So alpha 2 is 0 degrees, alpha 1 is 180 degrees. Now the h bar is converted like this, I by, so I forgot the direction here, as it is a vector, it is in a phi bar. Okay, so h bar is equal to I by 4 pi rho cos alpha 2 is 0 degrees minus alpha 1 is 180 degrees, right? So cos 180 degrees. What is cos 180? Minus 1, minus plus 1. Cos 0 is 1. So you will get a phi bar ampere per meter, because for our subject the vectors is very important. So into 2 times a phi bar ampere per meter. So 2 gets cancelled. So you will get a very important expression, a very important expression for the magnetic field intensity due to an infinite current carrying conductor as I by 2 pi rho a phi bar ampere per meter. How we got a phi bar? See, everywhere it is not a phi bar. That we need to understand. For every problem, you should not take a phi bar. It depends upon the conductor orientation. See, as the conductor is along z axis and the line joining the conductor and point of interest is in radial direction, so that is the reason why we got a phi bar. So how we got a phi bar? It is AL bar cross A rho bar. What is AL bar? See, the current is in z direction. That is the reason why AZ bar, AL bar both are same. So AL bar cross, what is A rho bar? A perpendicular unit vector from conductor to the point of interest. When you take the cross product between these two, you got a phi bar. Particularly for this problem, we got a phi bar. But it is not true everywhere. It is not true everywhere. So in order to understand this, I will take a small example so that I will finish off this class here. So this is a very important expression which is the magnetic field intensity due to an infinite current carrying conductor, which is I by 2 pi rho a phi bar. Rho is nothing but the perpendicular distance. For example, when the current carrying conductor, consider the axis like this. So this is x-axis, this is y-axis, and this is z-axis. My current carrying conductor, for example, okay, I am taking an example in order to make you familiar with how to write a phi bar, how to understand the a phi bar. So I have a current carrying conductor which is along the y-axis, carrying the current in positive y direction, right? Now, how can you find the field direction? That's what I want to say. If the point of interest is here, is along YZ plane, okay? If the point of interest is here, what is the field direction? Tell me. See, this is the current direction. So current is along y direction. Now in place of, okay, let me erase this. Now in place of AL bar, what I can take? In place of AL bar, I can take AY bar, because the current is along y direction. So AL bar is AY bar. Similarly, what is A rho bar? I told you already, AL bar is nothing but the unit vector which is in the direction of current, and A rho bar is nothing but the perpendicular unit vector from conductor to the point of interest. So this is the conductor and this is the point of interest. Now what is the perpendicular unit vector? So this is the perpendicular unit vector from conductor to the point of interest. What is its direction? It is z direction. So AZ bar. Now tell me what is A rho bar? A rho bar is AZ bar. Now what is the direction of the field? It is obtained by taking AL bar cross A rho bar, and it is equal to AY bar cross AZ. See, AX, AY, AZ in Cartesian system. AX cross AY is AZ, AY cross AZ is AX. So AL bar cross A rho bar is nothing but AY bar cross AZ bar, AY bar cross AZ bar is AX bar. Now it gives us the, what it gives us? It gives us the field direction. Field direction at point of interest. Field direction at point of interest. See, when you apply the right hand thumb rule, then also you can understand the field direction, but every time it is not possible to apply right hand thumb rule, because when the conductor is along x, y, z, then only it is easy to apply right hand thumb rule. In other cases, when the conductor is like this, in xy plane, in xz plane like this, in those cases you cannot apply right hand thumb rule. But now here we can understand. So if this is the current direction and this is the point of interest, the field, if you see, the thumb is showing the current direction, the curled fingers must show the field direction. So it is away from the board. Away from the board is always positive x-axis. So we got the positive x-axis. In this way you can check the direction of the field, or you can find the direction of the field either by using this technique, which is AL bar cross A rho bar, or by using right hand thumb rule. Okay, so by applying the right hand thumb rule, I got the positive x direction, or by using this cross product. Okay, here AL bar is nothing but the unit vector which is in the direction of current. A rho bar is nothing but the unit vector from the conductor to the point of interest in a perpendicular direction. When you know those unit vectors, you can find the direction of the field, which is AX bar. So A phi bar is not constant for every case, that we need to understand. We need to find the direction of the field by ourselves based upon the current direction and based upon the location of point of interest. Location of point of interest, right? So in this way you can find the direction of the field. Now what is rho? Rho is nothing but the perpendicular distance. Very much important. Perpendicular distance. So this length, or this is the distance, perpendicular distance from the conductor to the point of interest. Okay, so in this way we can find the magnetic field intensity due to a finite and infinite current carrying conductors using Biot-Savart's law, which is a very simple technique. When you practice it, then you will understand in an easy way. Okay, no need to memorize each and everything. When you go in a step-by-step process, and when you know the reason for each and every step in the derivation, there is no need to memorize each and every derivation. Okay, so thank you very much. If you like this video, please share and subscribe among your friends to support me or to encourage me. If you have any doubts, please post them in the comment section. Thank you very much.